Purport. It has already been stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, that the highest, most glorious religion is the attainment of the costless, unmotivated devotional service. In pure devotional service, the only motive should be to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is not actually a motive, that is a pure condition of the living entity. In the conditioned stage, when one engages in devotional service, he should follow the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master in full surrender. The spiritual master is a manifested representation of the Supreme Lord because he receives and presents the instructions of the Lord as they are by disciplic succession. It is described in Bhagavad Gita that the teachings therein should be received by disciplic succession, otherwise there is adulteration. To act under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master with a motive to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pure devotional service. But if one has a motive for personal sense gratification, his devotional service is manifested differently. Such a man may be violent, proud, envious, angry, and his interests are separate from the Lord's. One who approaches the Supreme Lord to render devotional service, but who is proud of his personality, envious of others, or vengeful, he is in the mode of anger. He thinks that he is the best devotee. He thinks that he is the best devotee. Devotion service executed in this way is not pure. It is mixed and is of the lowest grade, tamasaha. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur advises that a Vaishnava who is not of good character should be avoided. A Vaishnava is one who has taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the ultimate goal of life. But if one is not pure and still has motives, then he is not a Vaishnava of the first order of good character. One may offer his respects to such a Vaishnava because he has accepted the Supreme Lord as the ultimate goal of life. But one should not keep company with a Vaishnava who is in the mode of ignorance. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Now Lord Kapila has started describing the different qualities of devotional service depending upon the quality of the executor of devotional service. Devotion service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, angry, and who is a separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness. So devotion service can be begun by anyone in any state of consciousness by receiving the mercy of a pure devotee. In other words, a soul can decide to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead or to take attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the ultimate goal of life and can become a Vaishnava. But then, here Lord Kapila will be describing how, along with that devotional service, there will be so many other unwanted qualities which are manifestation of mode of tamas, rajas and sattvic. So three modes of material nature is continuously influencing the living entity. The living entity is the core being in this body, eternal servant of Krishna, but is a person. We are all persons. So we all have personal faculties of desiring, feeling, thinking, willing, all these faculties. Even now, even in our present conditioned state, It is the faculties of the soul that is coming forth out of this body, but the same is being influenced by the three modes of material nature. That is how the material energy is designed. Material energy is created by the Lord for the purpose of influencing the pure living entity with selfishness of different types. That is a characteristic of the three modes of material nature. So here it is described that devotion service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, angry, who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Now, often not devotees, outsiders, they ask how this person is a devotee and how he can behave like this, how he can act like this, how he can be envious, how he can, etc., etc. Always we have encountered this kind of a question that is put to us with respect to behavior of other devotees. And also, such questions will be encountered by the other devotees with respect to one's own behavior at different circumstances. It is a reality that every living entity goes through mixed devotional service, gradually rises himself into pure devotional service, if his desire is sincere to attain the Supreme Lord. Then gradually there is purification by the devotional service component, even if it is akamo sarvakamo va. Whether with desire or without desire, if somebody worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is definitely going to be a purificatory effect. But side by side, all these kind of anarthas are there, which is bound to be there. And then the question comes, here is the definition of pure devotional service last verse we got. That Prabhupada said, pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness is one, because in pure devotional service there is no demand from the devotee to be fulfilled by the Lord. So devotee has nothing to ask the Lord. There is no demand for performing devotional service. That is a pure state of existence of the living entity. Any state of existence other than that is called a separatist. Bhinnadrik bhavam is the attitude of being separate from the Lord. A devotee has no other interest than the interest of the Lord. That is the ultimate purity of our Krishna consciousness. So, in spite of knowing all these things, what is pure devotion service? And in spite of hearing about pure devotion service from the acharyas and from Prabhupada, from the scriptures, why is that the devotee, even if he is determined that I want to become a pure devotee, why is it that still these three gunas, they come and interfere? It is because our subtle body is full of so many desires and seeds of past reactions. The reactionary seeds of our past actions of many millions of lives. They are all there in our subtle body. Our subtle body has so many motivations. And only now and then something comes into our conscious mind. So it doesn't necessarily mean that inside there is so much of potential contamination which can come into my devotional service. So a devotee, he understands that So many different contaminations, so many different desires, unfulfilled desires, selfish desires, so many seeds of reaction that of sinful activities which I have to suffer. So many material desires which are going to fructify now in this life. All these forces of Kala manifest in our subtle body as the forces of Gunakala Karma forces. So it's not that our consciousness is so simple in terms of our conscious mind. Those who think that their conscious mind is only the mind, they don't know the depth of their vasanas in their subtle body, the impressions in the subtle body. And those who think that it's my conscious mind, and then they will say, yeah, I don't have any motivations, devotional service. I don't have any motivations. But every activity is driven by our subconscious mind. Nobody can guarantee what is the real subtle unknown forces that is driving one towards devotional service. No doubt you read Prabhupada's books, pure devotion service should be executed. That is in our conscious mind and that is driving us. But there are other things also that is driving us. And by taking the instructions of the spiritual master with respect to what is the highest standard of devotion service, struggling to implement that, we are purifying our subconscious also. Because every action, the subconscious learns. Subconscious is just like a subtle body is nothing but our past impressions. Subtle body is not a living force. Subtle body is manas, buddhi and ahankara. Different kinds of situational egos are there with the situational desires, situational habits, activity, all those things, they all surface up. If somebody is free from the influence of his subconscious mind, then it has to be completely pure. Our subconscious mind also has to become completely pure. Then we can say we are not under the influence of subconscious mind. We are under the influence of the transcendental knowledge or the internal energy of the Lord. So then the question comes, intellectually understanding what is pure devotional service. Is that enough? Yes, it's a very important starting point. Jnana is a very important starting point. Then you start feeding your subconscious by contemplation upon the transcendental knowledge that is delivered by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And that goes and cleanses, such contemplation cleanses our past beliefs of happiness, pleasure, everything. It has to get cleansed by Shravanam, by hearing the transcendental knowledge. Now, hearing is not simply plain knowledge that one goes in, intellectual energy that goes inside. No. It is a spiritual energy that goes inside by submissive hearing, and it has got the potency, it has got the Shakti, Vijnana Shakti it has got to cleanse our subtle body. So therefore, the devotee has to be very patiently execute the process of association. The solution is not overnight we can get pure devotional service. No. It is a process of purification by association. Why we act in a particular way is because of the influence of energies. Why I act in a particular way? Because of the influence of tamoguna. Another way, why do I act? Because of influence of rajoguna. Another way, why do I act? Because of influence of sattoguna. I act in pure devotional service. Why? I am in the influence of Daiva Prakriti. So in other words, the fundamental fact remains that we are always influenced. We can choose what we want to get influenced by. We are influenced. So in devotion service, we are choosing to get influenced by Srila Prabhupada and whatever he has taught us, and we are submitting ourselves to the influence of this energy of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everything. So normally what we always think that the formula is in some, we have too much faith in our mind and intellectualizing. And that should shift towards faith in the process of association. The devotee understands that because he is so much dependent upon, if there is a problem, then our default solution is to think how to solve the problem. Means you intellectualize how to solve the problem. You don't think, no, I should just shift association. You don't think. One who understands that he is always under influence of association, the living entity is tiny. Whatever he associates, he will get that influence. Then his higher intelligence is what? Not to intellectualize, but common sense, spiritual common sense is to move to higher association. If still, let us say in this case, envy, pride, violence, angry, all these things are contaminating our mind, then what is the solution? Solution, if envy is a problem, we should stop being envious. If pride is a problem, we should stop being proud. If violence is a problem, then we should stop being violent. If anger is a problem, we should stop being angry. Is it as simple as that? If it is as simple as that, then it was very easy. It is not as simple as that. We have to find out what kind of association will push these things out of my influence. Right now, these are all envy, pride, violence, anger. These are all influences of the three modes of material nature. While I want to do devotion service by the mercy of Prabhupada, some little trigger is there, some positive desire is there along with all these things. Because we are not completely our subconscious mind, we are not completely our past. Every moment we have got free will, and we are, the living entity has got new life. Life is ever fresh. He can exercise his free will. So by good fortune, by association of Prabhupada, some good things have come into me. Now with several years of devotion service, some good things have gone into our transcendental knowledge. Everything has gone into my heart, also into my subconscious. Now the whole idea is how to increase this content. How to increase the content of spiritual intelligence. Number one. How to increase this, how to subject myself to the increased energy of Shravanam and Kirtanam. In the beginning, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we may read Srila Prabhupada's books for intellectual part of it. because we're trying to understand how everything fits in and all those things. But that is only in the beginning. Later on, every time you read the Bhaktivedanta purports, you get energy. You get spiritual energy, because it's called Advaya Jnana. It is not only that intellectual content which is there in the purport that you are touching. We are touching the entire transcendental knowledge, because it's no separation. And it's non-different from the Lord. There is no separation. Just like in the introduction to Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says, it's like from anywhere you read, it's like tasting ice candy. You can lick anywhere. So in the same way, this knowledge, Bhaktivedanta purport, anywhere you take any purport, it connects to the whole. So it's a very mystical process of how to actually take association of the Shabda, and it is by association with this Shabda that it is possible to push out the influences of the three modes of material nature. And as we repeatedly take association of the Lord and push out this, then it becomes our second nature. Just like today, my second nature is to be envious, my second nature is to be angry, my second nature is to be violent, to disturb others. This is my second nature. What is second nature? Where does that second nature come from? Subconscious, you're trained. Now when I change myself repeatedly by acting as a Vaishnava, that is why it is extremely important. How a devotee behaves, how he acts, what is the culture in which he lives his life. Because everything is influencing and it is creating an impression in your subconscious mind, and it is purifying. If you do everything in the right way, it's purifying, and day by day there is going to be improvement. Act by act, every action is creating a positive effect. And then that is the way in which our desires can be purified. The desire of a pure devotee or pure devotional service is, the standard is desire only for the pleasure of the Lord. In pure devotional service, the only motive should be to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is not actually a motive, that is a pure condition of the living entity. So we should understand, anyone who understands this fact, that he has got anadi karma behind him, and in terms of contaminations, or even in this life, all the prarabdha karma that is there which is pushing him, is creating a impurity in my desire for pure devotion service. So devotee, anyone who thinks that I am doing pure devotion service is foolish, because he doesn't understand what are the so many different motives that are pushing from the subconscious mind. It's called subconscious because why? You're not aware. So what you are saying is a true statement only. Prabhu, I don't have any motives, Prabhu. I don't have any motive. You may not see, what you're saying may be right. You're honest also. In your conscious mind, you didn't have any motive. But you should always understand that there is something else that could have pushed me. This. See, he admits. Devotee can try to be sincere, but he cannot say, I am sincere. In my conscious mind, I am trying to be sincere in devotional service. But it is a big statement to say that I am sincere. I am a sincere disciple. It's a very big statement to make. Where is the guarantee? I am a sincere disciple. And so subtly this It is a subconscious mind that drives everybody and motivates everybody. It is an intention that is there in the mind that drives everybody towards an action. And intention could be selfish, intention could be pure. Intention, pure intention means it is called prema, and impure intention means it's called kama. Anything to please the Supreme Lord comes under prema. Anything for one's selfish desires is called kama. And kama is not just gross sense gratification. Gross sense gratification is a very small thing. The biggest contamination is social gratification. Gratification of our social ego. What others think. They should think good of me. I should be known as a pure devotee. See, Prabhupada says that. He thinks that he is the best devotee. Devotional service executed in this way is not pure. It is mixed and is of the lowest grade, tamasaha. If somebody has any idea in his mind that is the best devotee, what does Prabhupada say? Is the lowest devotional service, tamasaha. No, one cannot be artificial. How can one feel that I am the lowest grade, I am tamasa? The devotee should think like that. Because he knows the reality. He knows the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. That my mind is contaminated. It has got so many things inside, which according to time, place and circumstances, only the demon of those demons rise up into my mind. So that is why he never trust the mind is the instruction given to the Vaishnavas. It's not that when you become a pure devotee, you trust your mind. No. Mind is never trusted. Never trusted. Mind can be the best friend and can be the worst enemy. Any time, like this, it can turn. So devotees are always afraid of one thing. What? Mind separating us from Krishna. They're always fearful of mind separating us from Krishna. Means separating us from Krishna's interest. So that separating, nice word, Bhinnadrik Bhavam is used as separatist. Yesterday also we were discussing about how if we have desire to please Krishna, you have a desire to please Krishna. As long as it is not different from Krishna's desire, that is not considered to be a material desire. In fact, we have to have desire, but it should not be a separatist desire. And how does this separatist consciousness come? When there is no association. If you associate with the holy name, if you associate with Srila Prabhupada, that separatist thing won't come. And the only solution for purity is association. Only solution. So therefore, one should understand the secret of success in spiritual life, the secret of fast advancement in spiritual life is simply quality association. And especially quality association with Shabda. words emanating from a pure devotee. Therefore, reading is so important. If we don't read, then we will try to take commission from our devotional service. Commission is what is there in it for me. Either sense gratification or it could be social gratification. To my credit, in the eyes of the society, to my credit, what do I get? These things are, these kind of ideas automatically come and infiltrate. But if we keep ourselves in constant association, then we will not get into this separatist idea. Every moment the devotee is simply thinking that I have to serve the Lord according to my Guru's instructions. I am a servant of my spiritual master. That's all. He does not accumulate anything in his mind. Does not accumulate anything in his mind. Does not accumulate even his service. Done, offered to Srila Prabhupada, gone. Gone, like that. Even you accumulate, I did this, I did this, I did this. You may think of the past service in terms of inspiration for you that Prabhupada and Krishna gave you the mercy, gave me the mercy, I'm so happy, and you recall the opportunity given by Srila Prabhupada all these years in devotional service. In that spirit one may do it, but not one keep a diary and calculation that, this year, this much I collected, this much. I saw one devotee one day when he brought this to me. My God, he was collecting for about 12 years. And then he had exact figures of 12 years, each year how much he collected. I said, how are you carrying all these things? So the whole, and obviously it was impacting his mind that I am a big collector. What is all this? Where is devotions? Where is the standard of devotion service? Done, finish. You relish, if you at all, you should relish it transcendentally. Never speak it and take leverage from anybody out of it. Anybody who takes out leverage out of his past devotion service to Prabhupada, from the institution or from anybody else individually, trying to take it, he is losing the good transcendental benefit that has accrued to him. Because he's trying to encash it materially. So foolish it is. I've done service to the Lord. I don't need any of these things. It is never a loss. I don't have to encash it anywhere with anybody in this material world. All such discussions that go on takes the devotee's consciousness to a mode of passion and ignorance. We do some service, it is for Prabhupada and Krishna. Over. They will never forget. They will never forget. Any questions? Mike.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you said that whatever devotional service that I perform, that will never be forgotten by Prabhupada and Krishna.
No.
So, why don't I remember that, like you said that I had kept a diary, if we keep a diary of 12 years, or if I keep a diary and remember that this was by the mercy of the Lord, and I write it there and say, this was only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and it's a remembrance that how the Lord has been.
That's what I said. If you transcendentally relishing it, it's fine. But if it is for using it for social gratification, then it's contamination.
Prabhu, in this regard, I have.
It is not the act itself. Every act, what is the attitude behind it is what? No act is not devotion service. This act is not, you keep an account. This is not considered devotion service. You cannot say that. I told you. We can remember, continuously we can remember all the mercy that we have received. We can relish for ourselves. Most of the time when we share it with others because we want appreciation from others. We want the other person to, you want to make a mileage, a social mileage out of it with the other devotee. So that is why we do all these things. So we have to be very careful what it is. Keep it to oneself. Yes, one should always remember, it's a great inspiration. One should remember the various reciprocation that the Lord has given to me. This is confidential. It is between you, Prabhupada, and the Lord. Not for tom-tomming to everybody. Then its confidential value will go away. Its sanctity will go away. It is so sacred. Every reciprocation of Krishna is so sacred to the devotee. Another question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. We often hear that we have to associate with the Shabda submissively. So can you please explain this term submissively, Prabhu? When we are hearing Bhagavatam or when we are reading the purports, how do we understand this submissively? Because we are often in the three modes. So how can I become submissive as a bhakta? Because going through all the schedules, how do I learn this process, or how anything that I can follow?
See, hearing submissively means, it's a very important question. Many fine points are involved in that. From a macro point to micro point. At a macro level, you are submissively hearing because you know that what knowledge comes in the descending process is absolute knowledge. It is satya, it is truth. So there is a faith, there is shraddha, that what I hear from Bhagavatam, this is absolute truth. Now, if this is not there, what is the kind of consciousness? One is always hearing with a constant judgment. How can it be true? If his intellect doesn't understand, it doesn't go inside. It's filtered. That's not the problem. Submissive process means take everything inside. Then understanding will come. This energy will go and throw out all the ignorance. But here you are trying to, see, at every stage, at every point of time, we have a corpus of intelligence. Right? Let's say you are 5 years in Krishna consciousness. You have certain little more spiritual intelligence than 5 years back. Right? But then if you rely on that 5 years thing to allow something inside or not, then very little you will take inside. Isn't it? So submissive hearing means first to allow everything to go inside. This is absolute truth. One should ask the question, one should seek the mercy of the Lord to understand how it is truth. How it is truth. Not stop it because I do not know how it is the truth. That is one thing. And another thing is, let us say you read Prabhupada's purport. If you are too much analytical, then you will get only the intellectual layer from this purport. But if you feel for Prabhupada speaking out of these pages, it is a fact that transcendentally Srila Prabhupada's feelings behind this purport also will come into our heart. It is the same thing. When you hear a speaker also, would you catch the feelings? The feelings may be the realizations of the devotee. What is the difference between jnana and vijnana? Jnana is the intellectual component. Vijnana is the thinking, feeling, willing component of that jnana. It will lead to the action, plus it will lead to appropriate feelings. I am the body, intellectual content, yes, analytically you can analyze, I am the body, I am not this body. But can you existentially feel I am not this body? Can you act according to that existential feeling, I am not this body? That is vijnana. And that vijnana comes by submissive association. Only by submissive association you can catch the feelings and willings. Just like you hear some Leela of Prabhupada and Prabhupada's situational action that the way he responded to that action, immediately by your association with him, by hearing that Leela, you grab it inside. Tomorrow you face such a situation, you will simply act like that. Because this is Acharya, you're following the footsteps of the Acharya. You need not have, analyzed and understood and developed all the forces, thinking, feeling, behind that willing. You need not have. You just saw him, he's acting like that. You also act like that. It works backwards. So these are some of the things I can think of immediately of Shraddha is required, the source is pure, and then we should have the biggest obstacle to hearing submissively is mental speculation. Mental speculation means what? We have got too much confidence in our mind. Unless my mind certifies, you are sitting before the absolute knowledge and you are sitting there and hearing and telling your mind, okay, certify it. Are? Who is my mind to certify these things? So our attitude, our tendency is like that. Everything, I should get convinced. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, you can say, I should get convinced. You are in another plane of existence. You came into Krishna consciousness, don't say, I need to be convinced. Then only I'll take inside. You please take everything inside. This is Satya, this is truth. That's called Shraddha. And then you will see that you get convinced. And again, you go to a new person preaching to bring him into Krishna consciousness, you may convince him. That is only at the intellectual level. That will lead him to some action. Okay, I will also, you have convinced me, Prabhu, I will chant Hare Krishna. That is required to preach. But he also has to move from that to next level of action. Not seeking to be convinced before doing something. Once you become a devotee, we are become a servant of spiritual master, servant of Srila Prabhupada. First thing is we follow. We are gone to that level of following and then getting enlightened. Not getting enlightened and then following. How many of us know why we should not do 4 regulatory principles? Intellectually you stand and I can convince you, very good, you should break regulatory principles. There are karmis who do this. Not good for health and this one, that one, so many dimensions they will say. So if we wait for that, you are a non-starter. So initiation means there, 4 regulatory, done, over with this. My thing is now to follow Prabhupada. And to follow that, I have Shraddha. There is a power called Shraddha. Even though I may not have knowledge, why something should not be done, but I got Shraddha in my spiritual master. I may not know, but it is whatever he is saying is good for me. And then you go ahead with that. So without having Shraddha in the spiritual master, one cannot become a good disciple. Because a sadhaka is always short of knowledge. If you wait for full knowledge to come, full knowledge comes by following Prabhupada, taking his association, then the full knowledge will come. Then you can preach to somebody why of some things additionally. जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय.